Today, we're going to discuss the different factors and components that make up a strong law school application, particularly those items that might be relevant to applicants from the island of Puerto Rico. My name is Cynthia Rivera, and I grew up in Puerto Rico, and I am an associate law school consultant at Barrier Breakers, where we specialize in working with first-generation and minority law school applicants. And I am delighted to be able to discuss some of the aspects that applicants from the island of Puerto Rico might want to take into account when they're applying to a law school in the United States. Keep in mind that an application or an applicant from Puerto Rico will be as competitive as an applicant applying from the United States. One aspect to consider is the LSAT. An applicant from Puerto Rico is expected to take the same LSAT as anyone else in the United States. However, I would like to note that the LSAT does provide an LSAT in Spanish. However, that LSAT is only available to applicants who are applying to law schools on the island. That means that if you are applying from Puerto Rico to a law school in the United States, you are expected to take the LSAT in English. The Spanish LSAT is not the same as the LSAT that's in English. And I say this because a lot of applicants have come to me asking me, hey, can I take the LSAT in Spanish? There's no such thing. There's no such thing as the LSAT giving to applicants from Puerto Rico so that they can apply with a Spanish LSAT to a law school in the United States. What we have is an LSAT that is in Spanish that will only be reported to the law schools on the island. And I know that sometimes that creates a little bit of a confusion, but I thought of clarifying that important aspect of the admissions process. Another factor that an applicant from Puerto Rico might want to consider is that although English and Spanish are both the official languages of the island, some law schools might ask for some sort of proficiency test results if the applicant studied in a university in Puerto Rico. Not all law schools will require that, but I really recommend that you read the instructions carefully to ensure that if they are requiring an English proficiency test, that you please make the arrangements to do that. Other than that, the application is the same. The applicants from Puerto Rico, just like any other applicant, they are expected to submit their personal statements, their GPA, LSAT results, letters of recommendations, and so on. If you're in college at this moment, you can reach out to the pre-law advisor's office or reach out to your minority affairs office. They should be able to put you in touch with an advisor who can provide some guidance as to the resources and what steps you need to take to apply to law school. Some colleges might not have a pre-law advisor, or you might have graduated from college many years ago. That presents a little bit of a challenge since you no longer have the network of your college. So if you find yourself needing advice as to what steps to take when applying to law school, or if you have any questions as to the law school journey, please feel free to reach out to us. We will be more than happy to answer any of your questions and perhaps accompany you in your journey. Outside of the law school application, I also would like to point out that researching law schools is very important, particularly if you're an applicant from Puerto Rico. If you're planning to return to the island after you complete your law school education, you really want to spend some time researching a law school that might have a strong network on the island. What does that mean? You really want to make sure that you find a space at the law school that is supportive of your plans to work on the island after you graduate from law school in the United States. It's very important to have a network. It's very important to have really strong connections to an alumni organization that could help you find job opportunities on the island once you graduate. Another aspect that I found very useful was to make sure that the law school has organizations that speak to you. If this is your first time studying outside of Puerto Rico, having a student organization, having support on campus would be extremely helpful. Something that you might also consider, and this is outside of the law school application process, but I also find it extremely helpful, and it was extremely helpful to me when I was researching, was to take into account the geographic location. Knowing that I would have to buy plane tickets, sometimes travel during holiday season, all of that became part of my budget for me to be able to go home during the holidays. So again, where you go to law school, not just to feel culturally supported, but also economically. Does it make sense? How far away are you going to be? And will you be able to go home during the holidays? That was important to me. And sometimes traveling back home was difficult. I did spend some Thanksgivings on campus, but I always talk to students about their lifestyle at school and in law school. You're going to spend 3 years of your life in law school. And it's important that those aspects are also taken into account when you are researching and looking for a law school that appeals to you. So is applying from Puerto Rico different than if you were to apply from any other place on the mainland? And the answer is no. But I understand how, due to perhaps language or cultural differences, there might be a little bit of an apprehension as to, hey, can I really do this? And I really want you to consider the possibility of coming to the United States and studying law. And if you decide to follow that journey, just know that we're here to help you. So thank you for being here with me today. If you found this episode to be helpful, please review, rate, and share with a friend. Thank you, and see you next time.